last week when we convened near the end of the show, we talked about the rumor of a Heaven's Gate Criterion, and
November.
Yeah, it's been confirmed.
Let me put it on the Amazon.com wish list.
Absolutely, but that's an exciting release. Actually, Criterion's got Rosemary's Baby, Sunday Bloody Sunday, The Game,
and Weekend.
Weekend, Godard, and the new Weekend. There's a new Weekend too.
Yeah. I want to see. Right. I want to see that one.
Yeah. I'm just afraid that since there are two movies, I'm going to have to save one for a weekday. I don't. But so it's an exciting lineup of movies. But Criterion supervised kind of the remaster of this thing, and they're premiering it at Venice, I believe, with Cimino in attendance, and that's prior to the Blu-ray release. Cimino does not do commentary on the Blu-ray, but he does do an audio interview segment, I guess.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to be seen.
Now, let's talk about that for a second. I read a little bit about, where there was some kind of rumor that he was now living as a woman or something, but then somebody, I read this on the internet, of course, that bastion of great information, and then somebody came and said, well, no, I got to correct you. He's just had a lot of plastic surgery done, and he doesn't like the way he looks now.
He was, obviously, he's going to be at Venice this year, so we're going to get a look at him again, unless he's dressed up like Michael Jackson when he took his kids shopping or something. But a couple of years ago, he was at Cannes, and he was photographed, and he looked like a China doll or something. He looked very strange, very different from the 80s Cimino that we know.
Yeah, well, he was at a party, an Oscar party a couple of years ago for Inglourious Basterds, and he was talking to Tarantino. I remember reading that. And that was the last I had heard of him. But I think this is awesome news because this is a movie that deserves, the ultimate edition to be seen and fully appreciated. So I can't wait to get it.
Well, this is my question. Is it an underrated masterpiece? Would you go that far, or would you just go to say it's a decent enough movie?
Misunderstood. I don't think it's worthy. I got to be honest, I've never seen this version. I've seen, I guess you would say, the butchered versions of this. I've never seen it, but there's obviously something there.
Well, I've seen the longer version.
Well, how would you describe it? Would you say it's an underrated masterpiece?
It is. It's underrated. It's underrated. It's a flawed masterpiece. Let's put it that way. It's flawed. It does get confusing at times. And sometimes it's hard to tell which characters are which, and I'm talking about the, non-star characters. But and it does get a little bit, muddled at times. But it's always beautiful to look at, and you can feel, the money's up there on the screen, So, and I find parts of it to be quite moving. So, but it's not a perfect movie, but it's definitely not the horrible movie that it's had a reputation as being.
Well, even the people that hated it, and there were a great number that did, I think there was only one major critic in the country that actually gave it a positive review when it came out. But even the people that hated it, it's obviously a very beautiful-looking movie, a meticulously crafted movie.
Let me ask you this. Are they going to include the documentary final cut on it, or no? No, that's not in the extras that I read.
That's a mistake.
I read the book finally a couple of years ago, and I really strongly recommend the book to anybody who's interested, not just in Heaven's Gate, but just about making movies and everything. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah, from what I see of it, I think it's a mistake because it completely ignores a piece of history for which Heaven's Gate is responsible.
Yeah.
Or
you
is
can't talk
the
about
culprit.
one without the other, I think. I think it's kind of hard.
So it's going to whitewash that. It's going to pretend like, no, there wasn't any disastrous studio closing business with this movie.
There's no way they could do that. They're going to have to, talk about it.
I don't see how, because it's such a vital part. As I think Hearts of Darkness is a vital part of Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Apocalypse Now is a terrific film, But I mean, it's so kind of complemented by that documentary, in a major way. Yeah. And the Final Cut documentary is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. It is. Now, what was that done for? Well, that wasn't done for a theatrical release, though. It was done for television, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was done for, like, Ovation or some channel like that, some arts channel like that. Trio, maybe?
Trio, I think, is the one. Trio, because they did Easy Rider, Raging Bulls, I think, documentary.
Yeah. Right. It's good stuff. And actually, Dean, you and I were talking the other night about it. And it's in that documentary. What's interesting about it is that they blame the closing of the studio to Heaven's Gate, but Transamerica was a huge multi-billion-dollar company, and Heaven's Gate, they wrote off that movie 2 days after it premiered in New York. It was not a loss for them. And when it opened poorly, their stock went down 0.5 point and then went right back up the next day. So, I mean, people paint this as some kind of disastrous I think Heaven's Gate was the culprit to shut down or sell off that studio to MGM, you know?
Yeah. It was the scapegoat.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Scapegoat. Think a conglomerate. I'm sorry, a movie as expensive as they may be, even by today's standard, it's just conglomerates are so big. A movie is, I hate to say it, but it's a small write-off for a big, major global corporation. Let's be very honest there.
Well, and today, I mean,
I don't even think John Carter could destroy a corporation, okay? I mean,
they hedge their bets big time. I mean, they line up all the financing they need through foreign and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, by and large, they cover their ass. Yeah. You have to, I guess. It's a risky business. That made money, actually. Are there any other, like, underrated masterpieces, improperly maligned masterpieces out there?
Oh God, that's a really great question. I don't know maligned, but there are movies that are considered duds that really I don't think are duds. And I'm not going to go ahead and say The Exorcist 2 or something. Obviously, no. But there are people that let me put it to you like this. I'm not crazy about it, but Waterworld has its cult following. There are people that really like that movie a lot, and it's not much of a dud.
It's not a masterpiece, but that's a really good one that you pointed out there.
Yeah, I mean it has a following. You can't deny that. And just in the world it was not as big a money loss as you would think. It actually, I think, did make money. Actually, it didn't make a profit.
Yeah, it did lose. It did lose a lot, certainly.
Yeah, but I mean, it gained stature in a weird way. In the movie you were talking about in the opening, Hudson Hawk is not really that has its fan base too.
You know how I like Cobra?
Yeah.
And I see Cobra as like the pinnacle of Stallone's ego, and it shows up on the screen in a very delightful way for me.
Right.
I find the same thing with Hudson Hawk. I see Hudson Hawk, and I see Bruce Willis's ego flaunting about.
Right. That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy.
I think that's excellent. That's very fitting. I would posit Showgirls as being a
good film.
I think that it's a masterpiece. I think that it's actually meant to be funny. I think it's meant to be over the top. It's I think that everything in there that a lot of people look at as it being a bad movie, like this movie's terrible, is actually it's just got to be. It just seems real to me. It seems like it really is. Paul Verhoeven sort of dragging us down into the cesspool that he views Las Vegas and the whole world around Las Vegas as being. He looks at it as being a decadent American phenomenon, that city. And I think that the movie reflects the decadence that he feels that city exudes. And I think everything's put in there on purpose. And because some of it is just too funny, it's just too ridiculously funny to be just. I mean, it's got some skill behind it,
Right.
And
Do we have a Showgirls tribute show in our future? Is that
God,
the
I think that
Verhoeven
would be a
trilogy?
great show.
The Verhoeven series.
Let me throw out some movies for you. I'm going to look at James Robert Paris's Fiasco book and just I'm going to read out some titles to you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Popeye.
Oh yeah, I like that movie too.
Yeah.
Another movie that I think is unfairly maligned.
And another movie that's gained in stature over the years.
Ishtar definitely has gained in stature, I think. Wouldn't you say?
Probably. I mean,
I think so.
Yeah.
I
don't know anyone that watches that movie and thinks that it's entirely successful, though, or thinks that it doesn't suffer some way once they go to the desert.
Exactly. I think.
I agree. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly
what about Town and Country?
Yeah, that's one I haven't seen yet. So
okay, that was just that movie took forever to come out, and it's just not much of anything. I mean, it's just not.
No,
at least I didn't think so.
It really isn't. It is a major step back for. I mean, if you look at Bugsy, which is probably, I mean, arguably the finest acting work that Beatty's done, and then he does Town and Country.
Well, no,
which
he did Bulworth before.
Which is a Z-grade version of Shampoo. I mean,
it's not that good, Jamie. It's not even that good Z-grade.
I mean, why would you do a 8th generation carbon copy of Shampoo?
Mm-hmm.
That isn't worthwhile.
Yeah, it's true.
What about Last Action Hero?
That movie gives me a headache. I can't take that movie.
It has some imagination in it.
It tries. In hindsight, it tries.
Yeah.
I like McTiernan. It's got moments of great imagination in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that it's overblown is the point of it, but it's not as fun as it thinks it is. And again, I think most of these examples that you're bringing up go back to the ego thing. I mean,
right.
And you could say the same thing about Heaven's Gate, certainly. I mean, It's ego run amok.
What about Havana?
I like Havana.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think
it's kind of a bore, though. It's a little bit of a bore, but
yeah,
it's nicely shot and everything.
It's pretty to look at. It's got good music. Lena Olin is hot.
Yeah. Those are all good things about it, for sure.
That makes any movie worthwhile. A hot Lena Olin. Put her in a movie.
Yeah, sometimes a movie is just good. Those kind of things will just keep you stringing along through it. You know. Yeah,
I mean that movie exists. I mean that's one of Sidney Pollack's movie star power of the movie star movies. He just wants to capture Robert Redford looking lovingly into the eyes of Lena Olin and have chicks melt in the audience or something.
I mean, he did like 10 movies with Redford, so that might have been the last one that he did with Redford. I'm not quite sure about that.
What about the Cotton Club?
Now, that's a great example. That's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really terrific movie, and the only problem with that movie is that you can feel the interference of people in the editing room. That's one of those rare movies that, if it was, 10 or, maybe 20 or 30 minutes longer would actually be a whole hell of a lot better.
Right.
Because it just moves just a tiny bit too quickly at some point. Like they just frantically cut out scenes and just so they could sell popcorn.
I mean, they cut out 16 musical numbers from that movie.
Right.
Including a big Stormy Weather, I think, was the song that they spent like $2 million alone just for that number. And I think it was a case of, I haven't gone back and seen the Cotton Club in decades,
right.
But I think it was a case, according to Robert Evans, there's Robert Evans' truth and Francis Ford Coppola's truth, and the real truth is probably in the middle. But according to Evans, Coppola intentionally sabotaged that movie out of disdain for Evans. I mean, who shoots a musical and then cuts out 16 of the musical numbers?
That's true. That's
so
a
we're
good
not
point.
gonna. You don't think we're gonna hear Coppola going back and doing what he did with The Outsiders and trying to?
Coppola didn't give a shit about the Cotton Club. I mean,
No, I don't think.
It was never his baby to begin
One
with.
more title for you that is appropriate for a big movie coming out in September: Battlefield Earth.
Oh well, no, that's just a bad movie.
I don't know if that's,
that movie sucks.
I don't think anybody likes that movie. Even connoisseurs of bad movies don't particularly care for that movie.
Even Scientologists don't like that movie.
Wasn't Cutthroat Island a big failure?
Oh, that's a huge
failure.
That was a big failure.
Pluto Nash was a big failure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these aren't even movies I would want to. I watch like on cable late at night or something. But these aren't movies that have any. They're just not good movies. I mean,
they spent so much money on Pluto Nash. I mean,
I know. Where did it go? Where did it go? Here's one. New York, New York. Scorsese's New York, New York. That was also kind of a dud when it came out. But that's a movie that's actually grown in stature once they re-released it and restored some things, including
Do you like New York, New York, Jerry?
It's my favorite memory of that is on Saturday Night Live they did a spoof, Escape from New York, New York. They had people like trying to get out of the theater watching it. That was just as good as Brian De Palma's Clams.
Geely.
Oh, there you go. What do we want to say about Geely?
I'm telling you though. I'm telling you though. If Geely is on TV, I will watch it. I mean, I'll stick with it for a little while.
You mean McLeod's not on, or McMillan Wife isn't on? You're gonna.
Who the hell is programming Geely on television?
if only to see Christopher Walken's one scene, because you think of the wild ways that he delivers dialogue. He's like completely over the top in Geely. He has one scene, and Jennifer Lopez looks at him and says hi, and he looks down at her and looks at her really strangely for like a good 10 seconds, and he's like,
right.
Hi, it's like so weird. It's like he walked in from another planet, literally.
Here's another one. I've never seen this one, but Simone, remember that one?
Yeah. Oh
yeah, that's. And the sad thing is that a lot of people like myself are looking forward to because of Gattaca, that other movie, and with high hopes, and it just sort of. And also, it had the unfortunate timing coming out just because Winona Ryder's in it, and just while her whole shoplifting episode was going on, this comes out in the midst of that. And
I actually think that Geely and Simone have similar traits because they both have great potential. I mean, you could see there's seeds of something there that wasn't quite developed, and so it plays like a bit of a dull mess, the finished product. But you could see you could almost see the spark of what inspired it to begin with, And Martin Brest is a talented writer. Certainly Andrew Niccol is a talented writer. It's just a misfire,
Yeah, I mean, I think these are what's interesting about a lot of the movies. I think almost all the movies that we've talked about these are all, if I'm not mistaken, big budgeted movies, especially for their time, expensive movies. And there are high hopes for all of them. And let me ask you this: were there high hopes for Battlefield Earth? I can't believe anyone who read the script.
I think they did that at the behest of John Travolta, and I think that movie had such a stench on it months before it opened that
nobody had any hope for it. Yeah.
There's also The Postman.
Well, I went into that, even though you had the War World thing and everything before that, it's based on such a very good book, and a very short book, I would like to add. And I was just kind of dumbfounded how he stretched it out and everything. I know I got to give him, in hindsight, credit for at least trying But I tell you, like a quarter of the way into the movie, you're just like, there's nothing here. I mean, this is just dead as a doornail. This isn't going anywhere. And there's some interesting ideas in the movie, I think. But who I do think tries to do something is Will Patton. There's one scene where he gives a speech that is supposed to have some heft, where he said, before all this started, I mean, it's a lot like the Tina Turner speech in Beyond Thunderdome. I'm not going to lie to you. Before all this, I was just a copier repairman or something. And now look what I am. You know, and he's like the big boss, if you will, of this, like, you know, opposing army or whatever. But the movie, I think the movie just dies. I think that's, you talk about someone's hubris, that's Costner once again, right there. So. Well,
I think that he's, I've always said this about Costner, I like the rascally Costner. I like I like the Silverado 10 Cup Costner. He started to get Bull Durham, perfect example. But from Bodyguard on, he started to take himself way too seriously, and he started to play morose and brooding all the time, as if that was a substitute for depth. And he doesn't earn sincerity. It's everything's so mushy and saccharine. You know that he's dying to get that big movie moment, and he found it in Dances with Wolves because he had good material. But even in a otherwise really good film like Open Range, he's very unconvincing in it with his romance with Annette Bening, and he approaches Annette Bening and all of a sudden like professes his love to her, and it feels like it comes out of nowhere, and it's just, I want a big romantic movie moment that I didn't work enough to earn, but I want to put it in the movie, you know. Insincere, I find him to be.
No, I agree. I actually appreciate, like, obviously movies like The Upside of Anger or even The Company.
Yes.
And I appreciate those roles, and I'd like to see him do more of that. Now, I didn't see Hatfields and McCoys. I heard he was very good in that, so I wouldn't mind checking that out. But
what about Speed Racer?
No, Speed Racer has the problem. I think Speed Racer has the problem. You talk about Costner taking it so seriously. It's taking they took it, I think, way too seriously. It should have, and it finds that humor or the comic book or whatever, the anime quality towards the end of the movie. But it's another one of those cases where, guys, it's a movie based on Speed Racer. You just want to really say, stop, put your pencils down. I mean, a friend of mine worked on it, and he was embarrassed by it.
It's like getting like an Antonioni version of the Flintstones.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with those guys. Now, the brother and sister, the Wachowski brother and sister, not the brothers anymore, brother and sister. Their new movie is Cloud Atlas, and you talk about this is in one sense perfect material for them, but I don't know.
Again, Matt, have you seen the preview for it?
No, I tried to read the book. I tried to read the book a couple, tried to get into it because my brothers rave about the book. I'm like, I just found our copy. I tried to read it, and I was just like, you know what? No, I'm gonna have to come back to this later on. I have not seen the trailer. What is?
Yeah, they have an extremely long trailer. I mean, it's like 6 minutes long.
6 minutes?
And it's 6 minutes. I don't know exactly where it came from, but it does have subtitles on it, like Asian subtitles on it. So it must have come from Japan or something. But whatever. And I'll tell you, that movie looks sort of like one of these movies we're talking about, where it's just way over the top. And
I think that actually, I mean, it looks like another incredible risk for them. But I think that's where they live. I don't know that they could do anything else but something like way outside the box that could really sink or swim. There's no in between. Mm-hmm. But Speed Racer lost. Speed Racer lost $106 million. Was the net loss on Speed Racer?
Mm-hmm.
I mean that hurts. But Sahara, the net loss on a movie like Sahara, $121 million.
That's weird. Like, where did all that money go on that? That's one of the
that's
movies
interesting.
I've seen.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think the author, Clive Cussler, like, didn't he sue them? Isn't there a lawsuit because of dirt he doesn't?
Oh yeah, there was. There was.
And I didn't think.
Right.
I did not think that was a bad movie. I think it was a great movie, but I know that I read a couple of Clive Cussler books, the Dirt Pit novels and everything, some of those, and Matthew McConaughey was not my first choice, but I did not think he did a bad job. I'm not saying it's a great movie or anything, but I mean, it's kind of how should you say it? It's like a Saturday afternoon movie. It goes in one. It goes in one ear and out the other.
Why does that movie cost $240 million? I don't understand it.
Was it craft services? Did someone just have too much fun at craft service?
There was probably a lot of cocaine on the craft service table. That's what I'm thinking. I've got two movies for this discussion. One that I think is a masterpiece, but is much maligned, and that is 1941.
Yeah,
I agree with that. It gets better. It's funny.
It does. It is. It's funny. It's like a suitable, like, it's one of that. It's part of that genre that I call the chaos movie. Like, started with the Mad World, and I think that it does that chaos movie with juggling all of those characters and all of those different settings and so forth. Pretty well, and it's gorgeous to look at and listen to. And I don't really understand what kind of problem people had with that movie when it came out. I mean, I think it's perfectly funny in just most of the right places, and it's got some really incredible bravura scenes in it, like that whole scene with the dance, the dance contest scene is just unbelievably well directed.
I think once Belushi died, that movie had to be taken in a new, because you don't have that many Belushi movies to look at. So I think even something like that, you're like, wow, his performance, he's not, what you're amazed at the first time you watch it is, wow, he's not in it that much. But when he is in it, he's just very funny. And there's some little throwaway lines in that movie that are hysterical.
And that's what the movie is. I mean, it's a series of it's so much thrown into that movie that quite a bit of it seems to be throwaway because it's a movie of like everything but the kitchen sink. That's the kind of movie 1941 is. But you know what I think? I just think it was Spielberg's time to fall because all of these 70s hit makers had their day, and it was around that period of time.
Right.
And that was Spielberg's turn, I guess, whether it was unfair or not.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, it's not bad because Hook is a much worse movie than
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with
much worse. There's not one laugh in Hook, not one.
There's not one hook in Hook.
No, there isn't. Here's another one that I wanted to bring up. Remember a few years ago, Richard Kelly came out with
I was just going to say
Southland Tales.
It's good. It's what the problem is, and I like Southland Tales. I'm not, and I get dirty looks for that, but I do like Southland Tales. I think Southland Tales is very bold. You talk about throwing everything in but the kitchen sink. That's a perfect example. And I think Richard Kelly would have probably made 1941. And that's a good analogy because Southland Tales does have a lot in common with 1941.
It does, like just a huge
good. I was thinking that just as soon as you brought up 1941 about Southland Tales. Here's the thing that Southland Tales, actually, I think it was very good when it was released. I don't know if it will hold up just because so much of the material in it is post 9/11, but in between, it is a movie that was tailor made for the Bush presidency. And as we get further and further away from that, a lot of the jokes, even at the time, the jokes in it, you were already felt tired. But there's such a daring in the movie and just an expression of creativity. I can't hate the movie. He's trying. And I think in some ways it exceeds anything that he did in Donnie Darko.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I do, because Donnie Darko is a pretty great movie. And it is a great movie, but I think it goes even further. He takes stuff the whole time travel. He's obsessed with time travel. Yes, he is.
All 3 movies, he is obsessed with time travel. I mean, I don't
even
know.
in the box. I mean, is it
the box? There are elements. The box is just based on a great short story, and he takes it in places you're just like, oh my God, dude, what are you on?
I like the box a lot. So would you choose Richard Kelly to do a remake of Back to the Future?
Yeah, I would choose to do the whole goddamn
That would be
thing.
fascinating.
Yeah.
No,
That'd be a fascinating movie.
Let me ask you a question. Now, I don't see anything he's produced like World's Greatest Dad and I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. Is he ever going to be allowed to direct again?
I think he's got a project, actually.
Okay, I would love to see them have one more shot.
Yeah. I mean, I have a hard time necessarily brushing someone off who, like you said, is trying. Somebody that's really bold and he's pushing himself. I mean, I feel the same way about Keanu Reeves as an actor. You know, he's not an actor of great range, but boy, he tries. I mean, he's in there and stuff that he has absolutely no business being in, and I admire that.
No, but he's good in something.
True, he does
gotta
have good
give.
stuff. Yeah,
he's been good before.
I thought he was good in Something's Gotta Give.
That was a good performance. I really love him in Parenthood. I think he's terrific in that.
It's supposed to be Bill and Ted's movie. I would welcome that.